Well, news that's pretty much been known since Monday is now official. MikeYeung going to TSM. The team has announced it on the website, so the sources are pretty legit. He's coming over to NA's biggest team.
Yeah, and I mean, this is something that's pretty outrageous when you think about where he started about 6 months ago. All of a sudden, Phoenix One subbed him in, and everyone's like, who's this MikeYeung guy, and why is he using his real name as his in-game name? That's just stupid.
Unacceptable.
But then all of a sudden, he was amazing, made a huge impact on Phoenix One. His legacy starts with this, getting them on a 3-game winning streak, goes to Rift Rivals with P1, puts on this crazy performance on an international stage against Europe, and then the rest is kind of history. And now he's on North America's oldest and most famous, huge fan base team in Team Solo Mid. And it's just crazy to see his journey. And now he's playing with guys like Bjergsen, like Hanser, like Sven and Mithy. He's just amongst stars on his TSM roster now.
Yeah, I think for him, it's just been such a whirlwind, I'm sure. And you look at the roster he's going to be playing with next split compared to that P1, he's just going to awestruck and like, wow, these lanes are a lot better than maybe Arrow and Special down there, Rio in the mid lane, Zig in the top lane. This is a lot better. Everything doesn't have to run through me. I can actually rely on some of my laners. And, I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure on this kid. Like, when he comes in, you're looking at 4 veteran guys who have multiple World Championship appearances, and you sub in a guy who's essentially a rookie, hasn't even played an entire year, basically 80% of a split maybe, and yeah, he does have international competition experience. I'm going to put an asterisk by that because it was Rift Rivals. But I mean, there's going to be tons of pressure on him. And if this team does struggle, I think people are going to look towards him first and foremost before some of these other guys, which maybe isn't fair.
No, I wouldn't call it a lot for. Obviously, though, he's got a lot of pressure. And you already see the lifestyle change come into effect. His first day streaming under the TSM banner hits that 20,000 views mark, which is just
not bad.
That's what happens when you put TSM in front of your name. All of a sudden, everyone loves you and you're famous until, of course, you screw up or you turn into a ward, like Santorin, like Sven Skaren. So hopefully MikeYeung doesn't have that happen to him because he's a very nice young man who got a lot of fans really quickly in his P1 days. Obviously, that's going to escalate now that he's on TSM, but I think he will kind of do what Dardoch did initially for Huhi in CLG, which is just open up the map a little bit with his aggressive play. Hopefully, Bjergsen can go back to what he was doing, winning lane, being aggressive, roaming around the map. He kind of took a step back when he took over that shot caller role. So if MikeYeung takes on a bit of that, along with Mithy in that bot lane, then frees up Bjergsen to be a bit more aggressive. And you got a lot of winning lanes on that team. So Hanser, Bjergsen, Sven, and Mithy, I don't expect any of those guys to get pushed around.
Yeah, and one thing I will say about MikeYeung is despite being so young, his level of maturity is insane. Even in that introduction video with TSM, even during interviews back with P1, he spoke like he's a guy who's been in the scene for like 3 or 4 years, and really it was 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 months at the time. And he said he started playing this game when he was 10 years old. That makes everyone who's been playing this game feel very old, that he's that young. But I mean, this guy he's going to bring so many more fans to TSM. I mean, there's already an insane amount of fans for TSM. But I think, yeah, he will suit the playstyle or bring a new playstyle to TSM that they desperately need and actually get some proactive map movements and play going in the early game. So what does this mean for Sven Skaren? Well, Reggie said that they've had a team in place for Sven to go to before they even made this MikeYeung deal. The question is, what's that team? Where is he going to go? Is it EU? Is it NA? We don't know.
We don't know. Obviously, there's a lot of EU teams that need some roster help with all the guys coming from EU to North America.
Half the league, yeah.
And there's also a couple of options available in NA. Obviously, the Golden Guardians still have an empty roster. Who knows how long it's going to stay that way? Hopefully not much longer because the talent's starting to creep off the face of the earth.
Yep.
Echo Fox could use a jungler still. So there's a couple spots in place that Sven Skaren could go to in North America. If not, EU. But apparently that buyout was a little pricey for Sven Skaren's contract.
Well, someone was willing to take a risk on it. And I think Sven Skaren in a new environment, I think he'll thrive and maybe not under the massive weight that's put on you playing under that TSM banner. And he seemed to get the brunt of it whenever TSM struggled.
Yeah.
He was kind of the first go-to scapegoat that basically everyone went on. So maybe playing underneath a different organization that'll revitalize him a bit, and we'll see the Svenskeren of old again. But again, the Sven and Mithy, not completely official yet. You got to imagine the only reason MikeYeung was announced first is because he actually lives in North America, so it's pretty easy to do a video shoot with him, whereas Sven and Mithy, there's a lot more, visa things and getting them across multiple countries, continents to come and actually be in that TSM house. Who knows how long MikeYeung's been in there? He's already streaming. People were saying he stole Doublelift's chair. I don't know how that's possible, how you know what Doublelift's chair looks like. That's impressive in itself. But you got to think the Sven and Mithy announcement will be coming soon as well. If
they know how Doublelift sits in a chair, then they must know his chair pretty well as well.
That's a little too much to know about someone.
It's
how
creepy.
They sit, what their chair is. All those chairs look the same.
Yeah. Well, apparently not. They must have an interesting butt print in them or something.
Butt print, back print.
Yeah.
Doublelift does have a very distinct back. Don't know if you guys have noticed that. But plenty of more announcements coming from TSM. Maybe not plenty more. Probably one.
Probably one, yeah.
Probably one big one.
2 with Song, maybe.
2 with Song. And again, what's going to happen with Biofrost? People think he might stay on the team and they're going to do some subbing in and out with Mithy. No. I don't see how that would work or why either of those guys would be interested. Teams are going to be flocking for Biofrost. Domestic support, fantastic support. Finals MVP.
Yep.
I'm thinking he'll be finding a spot on some other team in NA, but we'll have to wait and see. But the announcements are definitely not done for TSM.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more esports content.